When you're dealing with an enemy that has no restrictions, it's always going to be less attractive than lies. You didn't kill 40,000 people. How do you answer that?
What do you see as the state of the Israeli economy in this situation?
An interesting question. The Wall Street Journal reported that Google is about to make its largest acquisition ever, and Israel is about to make its largest exit ever. A company called Wiz, a cybersecurity company powered by AI, is about to be acquired by Google for $23 billion. Now, that's just one instance, but if you look across the board, whether it's funding, rounds of finances and acquisitions and many other metrics, Israel's economy is doing just fine.
Obviously, there's such a really interesting connection. Obviously, in my visits to Israel over the years, as an industry minister, I learned a lot about Startup Nation. So that continues to be a force despite the challenging circumstances.
Well, actually, I like to call it Scale-Up Nation now, because traditionally Israeli entrepreneurs were very good at building startups, but we also traditionally sold those companies too early. We let them mature. I interviewed Mark Andreessen many years ago, the man who invented Netscape and one of the biggest investors in the tech world. And I asked him, why are you not in Israel? And he answered me, you guys sell too early. And he was right. That's no longer the case. And now when I meet with entrepreneurs and with venture capitalists, everyone's talking about building large, sustainable businesses and not startups.
And do they have access to capital to do that?
Oh, of course. You have every leading venture capital firm in the world, with almost no exceptions, have opened up shop in Israel. And even those that haven't opened up shop have someone on the ground scouting deals. So you have, some of the leading investors in the world pouring billions of dollars into Israel. Very
interesting. I wanted to ask about the startup and the scale-ups, now that you've drawn that to my attention. I don't want to be in a sensitive area, but clearly having that acumen has helped in the defense of Israel. Is that your assessment of the situation as well?
100%. This war is primarily tech. Tech is playing a significant role in this war.
Yeah, and I'm gonna put it this way, because there's a lot of, and we'll talk about this as well, a lot of disinformation about Israel in our country here in Canada, but throughout the world as well. How can Israel get its message out, a counter message to all of the propaganda that you're facing?
Well, when you're dealing with an enemy that has no restrictions and doesn't stick to the truth and doesn't even pretend to stick to the truth, it's difficult, right? Because we're sticking to the truth, and let's just be honest, the truth is always going to be less attractive than lies. And so when they come at us with, you're killing indiscriminately, and they're quoting the Gaza Health Ministry, which is literally run by Hamas, a terrorist organization that murders and rapes, what do you say to that? You could say, well, we didn't kill 40,000 people. And they say, but you did. Look, we have it. So how do you answer that, right? That's challenge number one. Challenge number two is they obviously outnumber us 1,000 to 1. And challenge number three, if I'm being totally honest, as a marketing professional, I'll tell you that, their narrative, true or false, is very easy to understand and to digest, right? You are oppressing us, free Palestine. Again, true or not, it's not, but it doesn't matter because it's easy to digest. Israel's narrative is a whole lot more complicated. And so, it's a really tough game because we're really playing a different sport. But we're doing our best, sticking to the truth. And that, by the way, even when it's inconvenient to stick to the truth, we do that as well when we make mistakes, because Israel's not perfect. But the reality is, for me, the most important thing is our integrity and our honesty and our moral clarity. And it's not going to win. It's never going to win over the lies and the deception.
I want to get back to tech as well, because I know this is an area of expertise for you. Can you give us a couple of examples, some interesting advances being pursued by Israel startups or scale-ups these days, just to give our audience a sense of just how this economy is functioning so well?
Of course. So the truth is Israel dominates across pretty much all sectors of technology. Obviously, cyber is our bread and butter, but it doesn't stop there. And we all know in the near future, our cars are not going to have steering wheels, right? They're going to drive themselves. The question is how? Not to get too technical, but there really are three ways for a car to drive itself. One is cameras, which are limited, obviously, night and fog and other things. Then there's radar. And then there's LiDAR. And when you see an autonomous car driving around with that big thing on the roof, that's LiDAR. Obviously, our cars are not going to have that big thing, which looks ridiculous on the roof. So this company, Innoviz, developed LiDAR that's tiny and is now integrated into the new BMW 7 Series. And these guys are building the future of transportation. And that's just one example. But the truth is, again, it's across all sectors. You take any sector, from cyber to consumer tech to healthcare to mental health to any, really, cancer research. Israel dominates across all sectors. And it's It's really miraculous.
Israel is one of the most advanced countries in the world in cybersecurity. We show you how experts here are preparing for a potential future cyber war.
And Israel is a pioneer in the medical field. So whether you want to receive a revolutionary medical treatment or just eat a healthy meal, Israel's a great place.
Israel is outpacing most countries when it comes to advances in technology. It's said there are more billionaires per capita here in Israel than any other country. One area where these advances are excelling is the treatment of cancer.
To see a country smaller than New Jersey in one could say the worst neighborhood on earth, dominating tech this way.
Yeah, it's very interesting. Obviously, historically, in the pharmaceutical sector, for instance, Israel has had a big lead, but it seems to be in other healthcare sectors as well.
Correct. Yeah, I mean, look at cancer research. I mean, you look at some of the leading cancer treatments and cures across the world, they were almost all developed in Israel, which is unbelievable. It really, from my perspective, it's really miraculous. And I, on a personal level, I have to say I feel very fortunate and blessed to meet some of these people who are literally changing the world every day with their tech. It's remarkable to see.